after weeks and weeks of frigid weather, where my old thermostat that used to be in the house wouldn't even register the temperature if it goes below 35 degrees. I could not work in the garage. It was just too painful. But with the help of my little space heater, I am up to a balmy 50 degrees. So I'm going to take some advantage of this break in the weather and try to get some work done. So I'm going to start the reassembly of the headstock, and according to my explosive diagram, which is super handy, I laid everything out starting here, and we're going to move forward in this order. And I even have the Woodruff keys lined up, and the only thing I need to do is cut some brass plugs. I bought a brass rod from the hardware store, and those I'll cut them to length, and they'll be needed to place in these collars because they get tightened down onto the spindle, and there's supposed to be a brass plug so they don't damage the spindle, all the threads, and they were missing. And in fact, if we get in close, you can tell where they were tightened down, and I have some markings on here. This one's a nice gash, but what I did is I bought some sandpaper, and I'm gonna very fine sandpaper, and I'm just gonna try and get these flush without doing too much sanding. See that? That looks painful. Once again over here. And I have a question for any of you Atlas guys who specialize in Atlas lathes. I have this right over here in the spindle. You can see there's like a lip, and for a second I thought that maybe this part was pressed into here, and when I was trying to remove the spindle, because I had to do some banging with a mallet, that somehow this pulled out a little bit, but honestly I think this is all one piece that was turned down, so I don't know what that lip is for. So I'm gonna do a little bit more research. But everything's cleaned up real nice. I had this sitting, all this stuff sitting with a coat of oil, because my garage obviously is unheated. And I do have to tackle one other problem. This collar was missing the set screw, and I bought extra set screws, but for some reason they just don't want to go in. And these are a 1/4 20, and I wouldn't see any reason why this hole would be any different. And when I try to take 1/4 20 tap, thought maybe I can clean up the threads. It'll start, but obviously it's getting caught. So I never used a tap or a die before, so I think these threads are, I mean, I look in there and they seem fine. They don't look damaged at all. Let me see if I can zoom in. Might be a little bit too close for this camera. Yeah, I can't get it to zoom in, but the threads they really look fine. So I'm going to take my chances and try to use a tap for the first time and see if it's just messed up a little bit in the beginning. And if I mess up, I don't know, maybe I'll try to find another one of these on eBay, or maybe I'll just fill in that hole and try tapping another location, but that's the game plan. So sorry for the long absence, and let's just get back to work. All right, first thing I want to do is cut some of these brass plugs. I need 4 of them, so I just kind of gave myself a bit of a marking. I don't think these are that critical. They're about half the length of the set screws, and I'm just going to slice these off with my trusty Dremel. So what I'm doing here, I'm just taking the burrs off of these plugs using a sharpening stone and trying to even out the cuts a little bit so they sit flat. Doesn't take much because as you know, brass is pretty soft. So I was just about to run this tap through this hole to clean up the threads, and I thought maybe this might be a little bit too aggressive. So what I decided to do is just take the set screw and see if I can feed it through, and lo and behold, it was a little tight at first, but now it's nice and easy peasy like all the other set screws were. So I don't know why it was so tough when it go in before. Maybe the first threads were a little bit messed up. I couldn't really see anything. In any case, that is done, and one thing down and about 150 more to go, but making progress. Alright, so now I'm going to just try to file these little nicks down so that they're flush. I'm just going to do it very, very lightly. I almost feel like I don't even need to do anything with this one. These seem fine, but this one's kind of a major nick, so I just want to do it flush. I have this very fine file, and I'm just going to go over it a couple of times. Just doing this very, very lightly. I know there's that little bit of a glare right on it, so sorry. So I'm starting to scrape it over here a little. I think that's all it needed. See, right over there, I'm starting to scrape it. So I'm gonna call that done. So I come to realize that the time I spent, I didn't spend all that much time just cutting these and filing them down, that I actually don't need all of these. I thought every single place where there was a set screw, you needed to have one of these brass plugs in so it wouldn't damage the spindle, but actually that's not the case. You only need it on the outer collet that clamps down on the spindle thread, so it doesn't damage the threads here, which kind of makes sense, and that's probably why, you know, on the spindle there are these marks. You just can't help that. I was told that on the Machinist Web forum, and so these are waste except for one, and that'll go in, like I said, this first collet. I was attempting to do a practice fit, and I come to realize that the tolerances on everything are so tight that it's impossible to actually slide everything on, even if this was had oil on it. I was advised by the guys on the forum that what I need to do is to put my spindle in the freezer for a few hours to shrink the metal and heat up all the gears in the oven for a little bit to expand the metal, and then hopefully those slight differences will make putting everything on a lot easier. So I need to set some time aside to do that. That would be in the next video. I was hoping to get the spindle together on this video, but I'll have to wait until next time. I just gotta carve out some more free time to do this. But anyways, thank you for watching. Thank you for tagging along. Thank you for your support. And I'll see you guys soon. Evil Twin X, signing off.